Hi, everyone. So for this week's discussion, we were supposed to discuss some of the similarities and differences of our interviews that we had with the three different school counselors. So I chose the elementary level because I currently work in elementary and I have every intention of staying in those grade levels. I had Layla from Louisiana, who is a counselor for pre-K through second grade, and she also has a co-counselor. I have Zoe from West Virginia, who is a counselor for grades one through four, and also has a co-counselor. And then I have Emily, who is a counselor for pre-K through second, and she also has a co-counselor. So some of the similarities within their roles, the first thing we can point out is that they all have designated grade levels that they work with, and they all have co-counselors to work with the other grade levels. They all taught classroom, small group, and individual, or they all did class counseling, small group counseling, and individual counseling, and a lot of their individual counseling was responsive services. They all were previously 504 coordinators, but as of this year, they only have to attend if I don't even think they have to attend. They can only attend if they're invited. They are not required to attend them, which I thought was really nice. Looking forward into knowing that they are people are taking the counseling program a little bit more seriously and taking those less direct and indirect services, taking those off the weight of the counselor, which I thought was great. They all mostly work with the community in some way. They have, and by that I mean they all have at least one initiative that they take on and bring to their campus. Some revolve around bringing in supplies like backpacks, clothes, school supplies, shoes, that kind of stuff. Some are more academic offerings that they have for teachers, like ADHD presentations and professional development, kind of in that way. And then teachers and the community, and some are around like supports, I guess you would call them lesson or topic supports that they provide, or topic lessons and activities that they work with, that they're provided throughout the community to work with their kids. Some of the differences in the programs, the first thing is the parent-teacher education. Some of the counselors one of them had a parent support specialist that she would work collaboratively with, but she was never required to provide the education to the parents. It was always the parent support specialist that did that. They were all, some of them, although they worked with specific grade levels and had co-counselors, but they also shared a campus, so they would work one day or 2 days on one specific campus and then the other 3 on a different campus. Some had morning and lunch duty and others did not. It just kind of depended on where the need was, I think, for the campus and the staff that they had available to support them in that areas. And those that didn't have the lunch duty and morning duty were really grateful to not have that. But they also would make themselves available in the morning just in case there was a need, I think, especially for arrival, because that could be a little challenging. And then the last thing is that some of them were just kind of a little bit more actively involved within teams on the campus. Like there's CST or child study teams that they would work on. Some would host interns, some would speak at universities, but I think a lot of that stuff was came out of just internal motivation and wanting to provide it, and it was less of like a required role and responsibility. So those are some differences there. Now the similarities and differences with the way that they've assessed their programs. They all used needs assessments throughout the year. They would send out surveys forms to teachers and admin and ask them things like what would work, what wasn't working, and what their needs were, and how the counselor could kind of best support them and the students. They, all of them also use some sort of pre and post check-in or assessment with the students to see what they were gaining and how they were doing and what didn't work from the kids as well. And then the differences were that some of them had supervisors that would also collect data, so it wasn't just the counselor, her or himself, I guess herself in this situation. So the counselors would, or the supervisors or admin would also collect data on the program. And then some of them were required to create district goals and plans for the program, similar to the way that teachers have to do that when they're doing kind of their teacher evaluation. You get evaluated, you have to kind of create an action plan for something you want to work on. So those were the differences that, and same wise, or likewise, the counselors have to do something very similar. And one was even talking about as little as creating a referral program for students that want to come visit her. So yeah, I would say after all of this, my biggest takeaway from the interviews, mostly geared towards the assessment and evaluation program. When I was overwhelmed by the reading because it was just so much of it. And it just seemed so detail oriented and time consuming and very stressful. And I was just kind of expected it to be a lot more. But from what I'm hearing from all of the counselors is that it's just not necessarily an assessment or an evaluation that you do every 3 or 4 years. It's just something that they consistently do throughout the year to kind of, like I said, see where the needs are, see where the gaps are, look at the data, talk to teachers, get involvement from admin and everyone to see what those needs are. And so that was kind of relieving because, it seemed so stressful. But I say relieving, but at the same time, I'm not sure how that ties into the requirements of ASCA and whether that's the right way to do it. It does seem that like it is, it works for them, but then I also think when they're analyzing that data, it could be very, there's a word I'm looking for. It could be biased because it's coming from just kind of only their perception, and they might go into it looking for specific things within the data. So I do think that having those teams and getting other people involved to help analyzing it would be beneficial. But that's all I have. Thanks. Have a good one.